connect with one another. What we do at App Connect is connect apps with one another. We're building an ecosystem of apps. So let me give you an example. If you're a Piggyvest user, how many of us here are Piggyvest users? All right. If you're a Piggyvest user and you have money in your Flex account, hello? So I'll pick up from where I stopped. So if you're a Piggyvest user and you have money in your Flex account number, your Flex account, right? And for example, you want to buy stock, right? How many people here know Bamboo app, right? So why can't you just use the money in your account to buy stock on Bamboo? Why can't you use the money in your account to order an Uber? Why can't you use the money in your account to do anything you want to do on the apps you use day to day? So what we do at App Connect is to ensure that these apps can all connect to one another and interact seamlessly. So at App Connect, we'll be building open source tools to enable developers across Nigeria build apps of any kind and have them shipped directly to you in your Piggyvest app and whichever platform App Connect is integrated to. We're building a whole ecosystem, right, of various kinds of apps. Think of Uber, think of anything, think of Trackit to help you track your expenses, to help you do anything you want to do directly from your Piggyvest app. On App Connect, we'll be working with platforms, of which Piggyvest is the first platform we'll be integrating with for now, to offer their users, these apps that have been built by various developers. So now, a developer somewhere in any state, let's say Abia State, can build an app, right, to help you track your expenses and ship it directly to you in your Piggyvest app. Build that MVP, solve the problem, the pain point for every user, and have them install it, launch it, and perform any action they want to do. At App Connect, we're developer-focused, building tools for developers, helping developers, training developers on how to build apps to help users like you and I perform any activity we want to perform. So this is what App Connect will look like, and these are the kinds of apps you see: Avon, HMO, Buycoin, Smart Insure, your Ubers, your Taxify, and they are all just going to be there, live in your Piggyvest app. Thank you. So if you have any questions, I'll be available to take them after.
Guys, let's put your hands together one more time for OJ. So because we're short of time, we'll be going straight to our panel session. What we're talking about is wealth creation in this digital age. I would invite the moderator, Layo Ogunbawo. She's the VP product at Piggyvest. Put your hands together for her, guys. In this digital age. I would invite the moderator, Layo Ogunbawo. She's the VP product at Piggyvest. Put your hands together for her, guys.
We have 3.5
in this digital age. I would invite the moderator, Layo Ogunbawo. She's the VP product at Piggyvest. Put your hands together for her, guys.
We have 3.5
in this digital age. I would invite the moderator, Layo Ogunbawo. She's the VP product at Piggyvest. Put your hands together for her, guys.
We have 3.5 before we get started, I want my speakers to, introduce yourself. Give us a 1 minute intro. Who you are, what you do, etc. Anyone can start.
Hi everyone. My name is Kayode, Kayode Iwale. I'm basically representing Kolaina, who couldn't be here today. I'm a partner at Ventures Platform, and what we do primarily is we fund the smartest entrepreneurs solving the hardest problems across the African continent. That's largely what I do at VP. So my job largely requires that I spend most of my time finding entrepreneurs to invest in, and when we fund them, support them to just basically help them grow. And I would say we're pretty much passionate about funding companies, and we're early investors in PiggyVest.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Shola Adeshaki, and I'm the lead coach and founder of the Smart Stewards. Now, Smart Stewards is a financial literacy platform, and our passion is simple: preach the gospel of financial freedom and help people embrace financial literacy at all levels. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ayo Bankole Akinsujoye. I'm a strategist. I work with various companies in the Nigerian economy to transform their businesses, deploy technology for achieving strategic objectives, and then I'm the convener of the Lagos SME Bootcamp. Now we're going to change it to the Nigerian SME Bootcamp because we're going into different cities, and what we essentially do is to create a platform that helps small and medium businesses acquire business management skills that reduces their chances of failure. As you may be aware that 90% of businesses would fail within the first 5 years. And a large reason why they fail is because they may be very strong on the technical side, but they really don't know the business management side. So things like strategy, things like financial management, things like technology skills, people management, all those kind of elements are the things that we teach them in practical steps so that they can be better managers of their business. Thank you.
Hi everyone, sorry I'm late. My name is Odwan Ewini. I'm co-founder and chief operations officer of PiggyVest. And PiggyVest is an automated savings and micro investment platform that helps young Nigerians like us, like you, to put aside little amounts of money towards a target and eventually present you with micro investment opportunities that generally improve your access and affordability to financial services.
Okay, so thank you guys. Before we dive right in, I want to just read a brief stat. So according to a report from the World Bank in 2016, the global digital economy was worth about $11.5 trillion, and that equates to about 15.5% of the entire world's GDP rather. Nigeria is home to 197 million people, and that accounts for 47% of West Africa. So to my panelists, what do you guys think constitutes of one, the digital age, and then what skills do you think Nigerians need to have to be able to partake in this new digital space? One can go first. You go first.
Okay, so I'll probably just start from the second question, which is what skills do Nigerians need to have to basically participate in the digital economy, right? And I think we did some blog post about this some time ago. For me, with respect to digital economy, a bunch of things I think people just need to be able to participate, right? The first thing is just like the sheer awareness that this economy exists, right? The thing is, when you're trying to, there are two things I say. You want to have a skill that is rare and is valuable, right? And the good thing about the digital economy is that you afford you the opportunity to participate in like having a skill that's rare and valuable, right? Because we're at a point where there's been no greater demand for digital skills, right? Like it's almost like if you're pretty proficient in any digital skill, there's massive opportunity. I mean, I was talking to a bunch of people, and I was like, I used to build a company before I went to the world of VC, and I had a bunch of young engineers, like 18, 19, that literally went to recruit from universities. And I was telling somebody that all the engineers that recruited from university, literally, all of them make at least 5 times what I make today, at the minimum, 5 times what I make, right? And for me, I was like super happy about it. But the most important thing is that literally you want to have a skill that's rare and valuable, right? And so in terms of the digital age, a bunch of things I think people should have. The first thing is basic design skills. Again, just being able to use basic tools. So if you can learn how to use Figma, learn how to use Canva, learn how to use a bunch of things. Second thing is, I personally am of the opinion that people should, if you can, and if you're interested, learn to be an engineer. So if you can learn to code, learn to do really interesting things around data analysis. My friend literally heads data science team for a particular Nigerian company, and was telling me that literally they're looking for, if they find 20 people today that have that particular skill set, they're happy to recruit them. And when he told me what the pay grade was, like I was super blown away, right? So basically just being able to understand what does the market, what does the digital market demand, and just being able to develop skills. So things around data science, engineering, design, just understanding how product works, and a bunch of things like that. Yeah.
Ayabanka, do you want to go next?
Okay. Pretty much mentioned a whole lot of the skills required. The truth is that there are so many skills that you can acquire depending on the field that you are interested in, right? And we tend to misconstrue digital transformation with just technology, right? So you could know how to use technology, but not be digitally inclined. I mean, what do I mean? So for a company to adopt technology is different from that company to transform digitally, right? And what that means is that for you as a professional, right, you need to start thinking digital. And I'll give you an example. Some HR experts, for example, have said that in the next 10 to 20 years, human resource as a skill would become a general skill like PowerPoint and Microsoft Excel that every other professional has to have. Meaning that HR as a profession or as an expertise is likely going to dwindle, right? And what they've now said is that for you to remain relevant in the digital age as an HR professional, you have to evolve. So you need to acquire, you need to be more inclined towards becoming digital in your thinking as an HR expert. So how can I leverage digital skills or digital applications to analyzing people behavior? How can I use that analysis to determine who I should recruit? How does my recruitment matrix affect the overall objectives of the business? So let's look at if you're a financial analyst, for example. You have a lot of, so there are quite a few disruptors in that space. I'll give you an example. There's a company called Seculob, right, in America that is giving a lot of headache to traditional investment banks because Seculob simply applies digital platforms to aggregate investors, and then they look for the companies and they bypass all of the traditional channels through which investment banks shortlist companies that they want to raise money for. So if you are in financial space, for example, there are quite a number of skills that you have to acquire. And after acquiring those skills, you now have to think digital, meaning in your behavioral attributes, in your application of those skills to the way you manage people, to the way you manage your clients. Now, 75% of HNIs, according to a McKinsey report, 75% of HNI have shown that they would rather interface with their investment managers remotely through digital channels. And mobile, 35% of them are using mobile rather than face-to-face. So if you're a financial advisor and you are still thinking traditional, you most likely would go out of relevance in the next few years. So you can see that the adaptation of skills and the adaptation of digital culture, is relative. It depends on your field. So the most important thing is to read extensively around what are the trends in my space on technology. What does my client want? How can I make money from this? What will be relevant in the next 5 years? And then the sky will just be a starting point.
Thank you for that. So, piggybacking off of what Bankole and Ayo Bankole actually have both said, my question is to both Shola and Odun. What interesting ways have you seen people, utilize digital skills to become wealthy or to make money, to live a better life in general?
Awesome. So when we talk about wealth creation, first of all, outside of our space, what does it mean to create wealth? So wealth is you tailor a lot of strategies at building a portfolio of assets over time. Because, when people hear the word wealth or becoming wealthy, they think it is only about making money. So what are you making the money for and how? So wealth creation is simply you tailoring or being deliberate about strategies that would help you accumulate assets over time. And for what reason? For capital growth and for you to generate income over time. That is, and I tell people there are 4 different types of wealth that should interest everybody. The financial wealth, we talked about money. Have the physical wealth, it's about health. You have the time wealth, which gives you freedom to do whatever you want to do. And you have the social wealth, we talked about status. Now, let's bring it home to the digital space. How can you utilize the digital age to enhance the way you make money? So I like what Ayo just said. Now, if somebody like me, I'm a financial expert. I have a lot of people that look up to me, for them to glean financial advice. I have clients and a whole lot more. How can I make money leveraging on the digital space or factors or what have you, or the tools? So I'll give you an example. I have an investment club of about 250 members from all over the world. How do we network? How do we do stuff together in such a way that will enable us achieve our objectives, which is making money? Digital. So we have an interactive network, an interactive website, we have tools, we have online courses, and we just have, we operate in a digital space. So for individuals, how can you leverage on technology and this digital space to make money? I tell people this is an age where the money is online. ICT, IT. So what are the skills you have been able to, what are the skills you even have outside of the digital space to make money? What are the things you know how to do? Now, when you are able to identify those things, then you can now take things a notch higher, to say, okay, this is what I like to do. I like to talk. How can I apply ICT or IT? How can I go digital with it? So I like to draw. I like to be an MC. I like to teach people about finance. Now, when you first of all identify the things you like to do, then you can now take it to the digital space by acquiring necessary tools. So to sum all of that up, identify where you are first of all, what you like to do, things you know how to do outside of technology, then apply technology so that you'll be able to scale necessarily on your way to building wealth.
Thank you.
Right. So I'm typically very wary of telling people, like, here are the skills you need to make it in the digital age. Because the truth is, quite literally anything can make money for you as of today, as of 2020, right? So past the, as Shola correctly said, you being familiar with technology. So I don't know how many people read the National Bureau of Statistics report that came out day before yesterday. You realize now that 11.2% of Nigeria's GDP is being contributed by ICT, and only 2.36, 2.56 is being contributed by financial sector and banking. So obviously, there's something to be said for adoption of technology. And pretty much any skill you have, I think, can be digitalized, right? From writing to speaking to what you see on Twitter threads these days, like someone makes a thread, someone goes under, I sell these things. That's a way of applying digital marketing to what it is that you do. So using digital skills to be wealthy, not so much a question for me as much as it is what digital platforms do you understand enough to be able to make the money. Look, you can know how to use Microsoft Excel, but we also know that overall Nigeria's unemployment is rising above 30%. So where are you going to apply the Microsoft Excel? That's a less important skill than knowing how to advertise your Microsoft Excel skills, for instance, on Instagram. or on Twitter. So I think that, I suppose when you think about the skill aspect of it, you need to understand digital marketing. Digital marketing is the next frontier. If you use PiggyVest here, there is a 90% chance you heard about it from social media. So that's a way for you to understand that it's less about like the act that PiggyVest was doing if you hadn't heard about it from a platform that you used. So it is really about understanding the platforms and being able to use them to amplify your voice, right? Writing, speaking, reading, there's like, apart from, if you're not a coder, really, it's really difficult to like make yourself distinct from everybody who offers your services. So it's how best can you use the platform to attract people to your service and then be able to monetize it, right? So, how can you employ Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, Facebook, and all these platforms that have been created that leverage the use of the internet and your smartphone to be able to make money directly or indirectly.
Thank you. Okay, so all of you here all are involved in the digital age or economy. Just give me one example of someone or something that you've seen that has been very clever with how this person or that company was able to leverage digital skills or the economy in general to create wealth for themselves or for like, a mass of people. Do you guys understand that question? No, it's not a setup.
Okay, so if I understand your question correctly, we're supposed to give an example of a situation of, in an instance where we've seen somebody in a company leverage digital skills to create wealth.
Exactly. So, because I want to, bring it home to our audience where they can see real life examples of people or a group of people who have done something, in the digital economy or age that has created wealth for themselves or for like a mass of people.
Okay, so one really, I'll give one example. It's not a typical example, and it's an example I typically don't like talking about because I probably should have been a millionaire by now if I followed the person. So the way I think about wealth creation, aside everything that's been mentioned, is that what you want is you want some information advantage, right? Like when you're trying to build wealth, when you're trying to do anything phenomenal, you want something that will give you advantage. Could be a network advantage, could be information advantage, whatever it is, right? So I mean, if you know Bitcoin, we all know Bitcoin, right? So I heard about Bitcoin way early, when Bitcoin was probably less than $10 for one Bitcoin, right? So this German, and he was telling me, hey, there's this new thing, right? It's a digital currency, right? And I'm like, okay, what do you mean by digital currency? It's like, oh, you mine the currency. I'm like, how's it regulated? It's not regulated, it's self-regulated, and a bunch of things like that. But the point is, he was trying to convince me and a bunch of other people that cryptocurrencies were going to be a thing in the future and that we should invest our money in it, right? As at then, it didn't make any sense to us, and so we didn't invest our money in it. And as at then, the guy had about, give or take, maybe around 100 or 200 Bitcoin. We literally could have pulled money together and bought maybe 100, maybe 200, maybe 1,000 Bitcoin, right? And we didn't, right? And 5 years down the lane, Bitcoin became like what? Like $2,000, $3,000, rose to $5,000, and rose to $6,000. And eventually, when we heard about that guy, we heard that the guy had retired, like because he was able to sell and made so much liquidity. And interestingly, also, I know someone in Abuja also where that made close to $1 million from basically coming into Bitcoin early. So the point is, when you're trying to, in that example, you want some level of information advantage, which is why now I prioritize being extremely curious, right? So even if you tell me something that seems like it doesn't make sense on the surface, right, I try to go back and just like really think through and read a lot of papers about it just to understand if there's something I'm actually missing here. And that's the same thing you want to adopt in this digital age where what the future looks like doesn't look like what you've known. It doesn't look like what you're coming from. Like, literally, the future is going to be fundamentally different. Like, everything you know about currency, about making money, wealth management, and a bunch of things are literally going to change, right? And so you just need to prioritize being extremely curious so you can understand what the next wave is going to be.
Odu?
Right, okay. So I'm going to step out of my comfort zone a bit. How many of you are Malians? Just raise your hands. How many people?
Don't be shy.
See? You're all lying. So there's like 2 honest people here. Okay, yeah, three honest people. So here's the deal, right? Look at Naira Marley and what he's done with Twitter, right? How many people at the end of 2018 knew about Naira Marley. Exactly. But throughout 2019, right, you had people like academics, right, engineers, bankers, calling themselves Marlians willingly. So that's like a testament to the power of the peer pressure that exists within the digital age, the sheer movement that can be created from there, right? He's one guy, right? Good, bad, we're not sure. But no one cares just because there's like a unifying sound that found its way to social media and that everyone could gravitate to. That's how powerful social media can be. Now I'm going to come back home to PiggyVest, right? When we started in 2016, right, it was a group of people who had an idea and had no money, but had social media. And having gotten the idea from social media, we went right back there to like use it as the ground zero for the promotion of the product, right? And it's 100% factual that will say that the community effect that PiggyVest has today was born on social media. You guys do like Santa Flex, Val Flex, WAEC results, all like willingly and just because you see other people doing it and you want to be a part of that. It's a movement, it's a community. That's how things are done on social media, right? You see hashtags and all of a sudden everyone is doing it. So your product, your service, your skill just needs to find that one unifying factor, that one thing that everyone likes about it, and then just like that. Because it was like what the movement for us started one meme. And it's a very old, not even funny again meme that said there's rice at home. And all of a sudden people were like, I'm gonna put this one here, I'm not going out on Friday, 200 naira here, there's rice at home. If you understand what I'm trying to say is, that's how you like leverage and harness like the power of digital age. And sometimes it's entirely opportunistic, it just drops. You know, you don't see it coming, you know, viral tweets, viral videos. But that's how powerful social media is. And I think those are two examples of entities, I'll say, that have managed to harness and just like use the power of the digital age to kind of propel themselves into like mainstream popularity.
Thank you. Shola?
So when we talk about wealth creation, there's this acronym that I like to teach, CREATE, but there's no time to go into that. I would like to talk about the C part of it, which is collaboration in this digital age. So I was going to mention the example of PiggyVest and how, you know, working together, my platform and their platform, we have been able to do amazing things together, the power of collaboration. So Richard Branson once said that when people approach you and ask you if you can do something, even if you are not able to do it, he says, hey, yes. People's time, other people's money, other people's skills, other people's resources, and it's a win-win situation. Another company that comes to mind is Fiverr. Now, I don't know how many of us use Fiverr. I'm an author of 7, and a lot of what I have done in the last 4 years and on my last 4 books have been through Fiverr. Now, Fiverr is a marketplace for freelancers. There, I got somebody who wrote one of my books. Another person edited and designed. Now, these are people who are in India, who are in Pakistan, who are just all around the world. Another person edited, another person did the cover design, and a whole lot more. So in this digital age, and talking about wealth creation, you must be able to collaborate your way into, and half of our members are outside of Nigeria. So gone are those days when you'll be like, oh, I have a relative, I have a sister somewhere, how can we invest? Now, everybody actively would invest in different agro-allied platforms, some of the opportunities provided by PiggyVest as well. So collaboration is one thing I think is very, very critical. One tool that we need to leverage on talking about wealth creation in this digital age.
Do you want to go?
Okay,
So I'm going to run you through a story. How many of us know New York Stock Exchange or Nigerian Stock Exchange? I'm sure everybody does, right? Okay, so there's an exchange called NASDAQ, for traded value, right, and wealth. Okay, I would have mentioned two. The other would have been maybe Bob Whiskey. He has also built a lot of wealth for himself using the digital space. But let's focus on NASDAQ. Bob Whiskey will come sometime later. So New York Stock Exchange had been for many decades, right? They had listed all of the companies in the world, right? And then this exchange came up called NASDAQ in 1971. And NASDAQ wanted to only trade using electronic platforms, right? And NASDAQ was trading only over-the-counter transactions. If you're an investor, you would understand how the exchange works, where you have to go through some dealer somewhere, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of structure and rules governing it, right? But NASDAQ wanted to do over-the-counter, meaning
in this digital age, I would invite